When I first pulled in, I saw the red line.
Oh, yeah.
And as a firefighter, I'm like, what a convenient way. This red line must take you to the NFPA building. And I'm doing a giant loop. I'm thinking, this might be some kind of a healthy walk.
It's our 1 mile walk, yeah.
So, way to go, Ben. Good job. So I'm healthier today because I did it.
Yeah, oh, good for you.
Well, in the car.
Well, you know, I think it counts a little bit.
Halfway, right? I get half credit, right? Welcome into Carpooling with Ben. Folks, we know stop, drop, and roll. We know when there's an emergency to call 911. But the organization that's charged with keeping our firefighters and our first responders safe is the NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association. Look at that, how they do it.
You did it.
All right.
Better
You
than
think
I.
I'm a volunteer firefighter for 20 years. Andrea Vastis of the NFPA joins me this morning. Andrea, thanks so much for coming in the car.
Thank you.
Appreciate having you here. We are coming up on Fire Prevention Week, one of my favorite weeks. I go to the schools in Warren and talk to the kids. I know I only got their attention for like 3 minutes because they want to go see fire trucks. Sadly, there's no fire trucks here. We saw some tractors out front, but we don't have any fire trucks here, so I can pay attention to this. Talk to me about just the role of Fire Prevention Week, how it got started. You know, people may not realize it's the longest running
Public health observance.
Yeah,
it is.
So talk to me about that.
So, thank you. And I really appreciate the fact that I don't have to sing in this carpool karaoke. So, thank you very much. So, yes, Fire Prevention Week is our signature event of the NFPA. It is an opportunity to just bring the messages of fire prevention to a broad audience. We do a lot of our work with fire departments and with schools, but really, of course, these messages are for everyone.
Sure.
October 8th, 1871, the Great Chicago Fire burned thousands of acres, killed hundreds of people, left 100,000 people homeless. And it burned from October 8th to October 10th. So now, the week of October 9th, we have Fire Prevention Week every year. It started in 1922 through the National Fire Protection Association, and in 1925, President Calvin Coolidge actually created it as a national observance.
Sure.
And so we are the oldest public health national observance, and with very good reason. Unfortunately, as often happens, something devastating happens and we start to put our time and resources to it.
The NFPA does a lot more than just teaching kids and families about, 2 ways out, check your batteries, stop, drop, and roll. You guys do a lot more than that. What is the charge of the NFPA?
So the charge of NFPA is to be a global leader in knowledge and information to reduce loss of life, property, through fire, electrical, and other hazards. A big piece of the NFPA's work, and this is the part that the public doesn't know but people in the industry know, is the codes and standards.
Sure.
So really, so much of it is, I, as an average person, I walk into a building, I expect that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I expect that this building is safe. And that happens through a whole ecosystem of people, of installers and contractors, of the compliance and enforcement officers, of first responders to be able to respond to something when things happen. And it's an ecosystem and a whole set of standards that are developed through a multifaceted approach. We don't write them ourselves and say, here you go. We bring all the experts together to say, what is the appropriate standard for sprinkler in a public building, for egresses, for everything. And just think every possible thing that could have to do with fire and electrical and hazard prevention, there's a standard for it. And then states, if they adopt it as their code, it becomes a code when it's adopted into law. And that's really we often talk about what's a code, what's a standard.
Sure.
Standard is what you should be doing. It becomes a code when a state or a municipality adopts it into law.
I gotcha.
And so those are the pieces of the ecosystem that we are constantly working. And so we have 300 people at the NFPA who are working across this ecosystem of assuring that our government officials are doing what they're supposed to be doing, that we can train and certify where able, our electricians, our installers, all the people who are there. And if you think about what it takes to put a building together,
Sure.
or any kind of public space. And then for residential, I'm really pleased that I've been able to be part of the public education and wildfire mitigation teams, because we deal with the public. What do people need to know and be able to do to keep themselves safe, their home safe, their neighbors and their communities safe?
Yeah.
And that's where Fire Prevention Week becomes an opportunity to put it out there. You know, it is, we engage with our fire service, we engage with the schools, and we engage with our community organizations to say, all right, it's time to think about this again.
Sure. You guys have a lot of great tools out there that you do that. The other thing you guys do is you provide research and levels of standard for those who are in the industry, the first responders, the firefighters, when it comes to, you know, protection and safety operation and the equipment being used. So as a volunteer for 20 years, thank you for all the work you guys do for helping to keep myself and my fellow brothers and sisters safe. With the outreach to the schools, everybody loves Sparky the fire dog.
Yes.
Who doesn't love a big, giant, furry Dalmatian who, you know, teaches us all the happy, safe things we need to know?
Right.
This year's theme, because there's a theme every year.
Every year we pick a new theme.
There's a theme. So I have to go speak at the schools very shortly. So really, I'm just using you guys direct this year, not to circumvent my own chief. What's the theme this year?
Okay, so here we go. So first I'm going to say thank you for your service, because 2/3 of the fire departments in this country are volunteer fire departments.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how many volunteer firefighters there are.
That's how it started.
And the
Ben
idea,
Franklin.
and Ben Franklin, right? There we are, that you're sitting with your family having dinner and you get pulled away to go respond to emergencies. So let me say thank you.
Which works out to my benefit if I'm not crazy about the dinner.
Yeah.
Most times I'm the one who makes the dinner, so if I'm not crazy about it, I'm not offending anybody.
Okay,
It's
there
like,
you
oh, look at that, gotta go. Somebody
takeout
needs a new battery. Let's gotta go.
It's takeout.
That's it.
So yes, the theme this year is look, listen, learn.
Okay.
Be aware, fire can happen anywhere. It's broad on purpose, because let's think about across the country where the risks are and for whom the risks are. So look for places where a fire could start. An unattended candle, a pot holder that's left near a gas flame on the stove, a heating appliance that it doesn't have a 3-foot perimeter of space around it.
My
to
personal
not ignite.
pet peeve. Laptops that are plugged in charging on a bed or a couch or on a blanket. Those get so hot.
Yep.
And so anyway,
but
all
that's
personal things aside,
but
looking.
It's looking. It is. Listening. And so the listen is, if the smoke alarm goes off, this is your cue to exit the building. People don't realize you have about 3 minutes to get out safely.
Sure.
So listen and respond. And then it's learn. And, you know, the learn is haven't identified 2 ways out of every room if there was something to happen. And if you were to think about your own space in your home and a fire were to break out, we have this thought of, well, I would go out this door, but what if that door were not available? What is your alternative? Whether it's a window you really can get out of, right? And you can physically clear it as well. The 2 ways out is such an important piece, and it's not just in your home, it's when you go places. So you're in a public space, and you know, if you're like me, I go into the public space and the first thing is, where's the restroom? Right? We need to be going, where are my exits? Because I know that there's the place I came in from, but if I couldn't get out that way, which way would I need to go? And so there's the proactive, prevent the fire in the first place if you can. If something's happening, respond, and then make sure you have a safe way to get out.
Let's hit the listen thing real quick too, because there's other things that I think people, you know, we're in such a media heavy world. We've always got something playing. Alexa is always playing music, or we've got earbuds in or something. Every now and then we need to turn the music off and in the kitchen or in a home office or a bedroom, just listen. You might hear something that doesn't sound right, whether it's one of those little transformer things that's powering some device or something.
Yep.
You can hear it kind of buzzing. That's not normal.
Right.
That's not normal. So the listen element is key, not only for the smoke carbon monoxide detectors, but for the devices.
Absolutely.
The other element too is headphones nowadays. Some of these headphones that are very, very fancy have that noise canceling.
Right.
I tell parents, if your child has headphones on, push the test button
And
on the
see
smoke
what,
detector.
right,
see if they can hear it.
Yep.
Because if they can't hear it, because a lot of people wear the headphones to bed.
Right.
So the listen element is critical.
And it is also because if you haven't experienced anything in which your smoke alarm would go off, you don't know what it really sounds like.
Right.
And so in that moment of, what is that? Wait, is that the smoke alarm? What am I supposed to do?
Sure.
And it's just human nature. And that's why testing your smoke alarm is so important. Number one, to make sure it's working properly. But number two, so that you have identified what it sounds like when it is going off. And you're like, oh, yep, that's the sound.
More importantly,
and now I need to do that.
And more importantly, make sure the kids are aware of what it sounds like.
And that's it. You know, it sounds so... you know, I was going to say, it sounds so Brady Bunch to be like, okay, kids, let's get together and we're going to test the smoke alarm together.
And then
we're
they do
gonna
the
make
fluttery thing as they come down with the music.
But it is. You do so many things about teaching your kids about things like stranger danger and things that, you know, are real risks, but probably much lower risk than things like a fire.
Sure.
And I have to say, I think our success in fire prevention is our confounder, correct?
Sure.
We have done such a good job of lowering the numbers of fires and fire deaths in this country overall that it's not top of mind anymore.
People become complicit. They kind of turn a cold shoulder to it.
Right.
It's not a big deal to them if they're in a restaurant and they hear
People
the alarm's going off. They're like, do I get out now or do I wait for the check? Come, hold on. I just ordered another round of beverages. Wait, I'll wait till that.
Right.
I'll take that outside.
And they wait for someone to tell them what to do.
Exactly.
And you know, I think that's one of the things is you are your own best hero and advocate. And so if you go to firepreventionweek.org or fpw.org,
there you go.
You will
right
also
here.
see
right here.
See
it right there. You can touch the letters.
You will see that Sparky has a new friend this year, Simon. And Simon has a magnifying glass, which is symbolic of the look, listen, learn theme. And the whole point of it is you can be your own advocate. You can be your own detective. Yes, as citizens, we walk into our public buildings and we expect that it's being done for us. But honestly, we need to also be advocates for ourselves, for our communities, and keep an eye out for those things. And when we see things that are wrong, we need to be willing to report them. And when we see things in our own home, we need to be willing to take those actions to correct them.
Absolutely. And we're coming into the change of the clock season.
Yep.
All right, we're going to fall back an hour.
Right.
All right, an extra hour of sleep for everybody.
Loving it.
Check that battery. Replace it. Don't even check it. Just replace it. Get new ones. Head on out to the store. Head on out to the the hardware store or wherever. Just grab a new pack of batteries because that's not something you want to take a chance on.
It isn't. And you know, I try to stay away from too many statistics when we're talking about this sort of thing.
Sure.
But the reality is, when you have a working smoke alarm in your home, you have cut your risk of death from a fire in half.
Yeah, that's big.
That is huge. Very few things in the world can cut, right? Quitting smoking cuts your risk of a heart attack in half.
Sure.
That's great. And having a working smoke alarm in your home cuts your risk of death by a fire in half.
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to. And so many times firefighters have said they've responded to homes and the smoke alarm has either been disabled because, well, it kept going off when I was cooking, so I took the battery out, or I bought it and it was 3 months ago and it's still sitting here on the table, right? And we're all guilty of it. Hey, I we are all guilty of it. So with Fire Prevention Week also being near the time of, you know, spring forward, fall back, it's a great opportunity to say, okay, these are the things I have to do. And peace of mind for these small little things that you can do, that you take 5 minutes out of your day.
Yep.
You know, put it on your list next time you're going to go to the market or the store. Yep, the batteries. Honestly, just tell your kids to remember for you, because that's all I can't. Every morning I tell my kids, remind me to this, remind me to that.
Well, and the thing is, you don't even have to throw the old batteries out. There's probably some juice left in them, but put them in a less important device, like maybe the remote control.
Exactly.
Or,
that's
you know,
a very important device. Come on.
I know. I just discovered that with my iPhone, I can control my Apple TV. So this is a whole new world.
It's a
whole
great trick for your
new
kids.
world.
It's a great thing to do to your kids and be like,
That's it. Stay tuned for next time when we teach you ways you can just mess with your kids.
Exactly.
Andrea,
That's part 2.
Thank you so much to you and all the wonderful people at the NFPA for working so hard, you know, bringing it to light every year. I know it's a lot about the public campaign to get the word out and just to remind people of it. The fact that the amount of fires is down is good, but there's still a lot more to do.
Yes.
And we keep it that way
Yes.
by paying attention to all the great work that you guys do. So thank you. You guys have a beautiful facility up here in Quincy, Massachusetts.
I love this place. I'm so happy here, I have to say.
And you guys actually have event space up here, folks. If you're looking for a place to host an event, check it out. Reach out to the NFPA up here, because it's a beautiful facility, and you just might, no guarantees, you might see Sparky the Fire Door running around, because this is his place. This is his jam. So, all right.
Can I make a final pitch?
Please, by all means.
So, yes, we do a lot of focus on kids because we want them to be at the forefront of prevention. They build these good habits now. They'll take them through their life.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like me, you're sandwich generation, you're caring for kids and aging parents.
Mm-hmm.
Take some time, check out your parents' home if they're living with you or if they're not living with you.
Very good point.
Because one of the places where we do see the most fire deaths are in aging populations.
Sure.
Because of mobility issues. There are often, the home is so much older, the smoke alarm is being neglected, the ability, the longer we're in a home, the more we pile up stuff. So, great. Make sure to do this for your kids. Make sure to do this for your elderly neighbors, grandparents, parents, to give them, because it's even more important that they have good access out of their home in the event of something happening. So I'm just going to make sure that's there.
That's it. Folks, follow the NFPA. Follow them right on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, online. Go to their website. And most importantly, look, listen, and learn. It's a wonderful theme this year. If you have kids, they should be bringing home information from school in just the next couple weeks, and really follow that information. Help drive the message home, because it's so critical.
And if they're going to go online, sparky.org. They can play all sorts of games about fire prevention at the same time.
Sparky.org.
So
I got to hit that up. Hit up some Sparky.org. Is Sparky on Fortnite? You should get Sparky on Fortnite.